All right, Chris, it's conference championship weekend. We both entered the league around the year 2000, so I want to look back and talk about the best conference championship games we've seen since that time. And so I'm going to start off my list. Let me know what you think. I know I'm going to be right, but here we go. We're going to start off with the 2006 AFC Championship game, Colts-Pats. And this one stands out to me because the Pats had knocked the Colts out of the playoffs, I think 2 out of the previous 3 years. The Colts get down 21-3 at home, and then they end up coming back. Peyton Manning finally get the hump off his back. Now at number 2, I'm going with the 2007 NFC Championship game, Giants at Lambeau Field playing against the Packers, because I would think that any analyst that predicted that Eli Manning coming in as the number 5 seed wildcard team would go into Green Bay minus 18 degrees playing against Brett Favre and pull off an upset, like no one in hell would have thought that could have happened. But Eli was able to do it. Lawrence Tynes goes in, he hits 2 field goals to start the game, misses 1 at the end of regulation to win the game, and then ends up kicking a field goal in overtime to win the game. And I think this really stands out to me the most because this basically started Aaron Rodgers, his ascent to being one of your favorite quarterbacks and another legend in Green Bay. Now at number 1, I'm going with the game that we just saw last year, the AFC Championship game against Pats, Kansas City Chiefs, where we saw one of the most explosive offenses in the league at that time, the Chiefs, get stifled by the Pats, shut them out in the first half, and then Mahomes and that offense came back swinging, big play after big play. They get into the game, have to drive down late, kick a field goal to send it to overtime, and then Tommy Boy does what Tommy Boy does. That may be the last glimpse of greatness that we saw to Brady besides the Super Bowl, and that may be the adversity that Mahomes needed in order to take it to the next level. But, I mean, that was one of the most amazing games that I've seen to date.
Yeah, well, it's a good list. It is. I'm not going to be mad at you for your list. The ones you have there, I have written down. Now, one of them didn't make the cut for me, all right? So, but I like everything about it. All right, number 3, I'm with you on the 2007 NFC Championship game. It just looks like, oh, man, this is playoff football. You're right. It's Brett Favre's last game. You wouldn't have thought the Giants could go up there and kind of pull off that upset against Green Bay, the legendary quarterback, all of that. They do it. They make the kick in overtime that you mentioned about, and then go on and beat the New England Patriots, who were undefeated. So that would be my number 3. My number 2, this one's not on your list, I'm sorry, is Viking Saints 2009.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going back to Brett Favre here. But to me, this was an unbelievable football game. First off, so fun, back and forth moments. Big turnovers, Adrian Peterson fumbling when you think, man, the Vikings got this game in control, everything's going good. I just remember that stadium being so loud that night. I remember thinking, man, Brett Favre's going to get back and go to the Super Bowl with the Vikings. This is crazy. And then, of course, the Saints end up winning the game, but Brett Favre has a chance with the ball in his hands late in the game. Gosh, he still had that guy open, but he had to throw the ball across the field down the middle, which Brett Favre does every now and then, as we know. So that one really jumps out to me. And then my number 1 is back to your list. I go with that 2006 Patriots-Colts game.
Yeah.
I do. I think that was the best championship game I saw in the 21st century, all right? Just the magnitude of it. First of all, it was Brady and Manning. And, Peyton Manning can't win the big game. Peyton Manning threw a pick 6 before the half to Asante Samuel. You're going, no way they're coming back against this New England Patriots team. If memory serves me correct, we had 3 offensive linemen score touchdowns in that game. Yeah. Tony Dungy being the head coach for the Colts, and that catapulting him to the Super Bowl to be the first African-American head coach in the Super Bowl, along with Peyton Manning, and then dethroning Brady and Belichick after we really kind of thought they were unstoppable at that point in time, where you just felt like they were always going to pull out that type of football game. To me, that is one I will never forget, and that was probably my favorite championship game here to date.
Yeah, and it's so interesting because I feel like the conference championships have always, they've also led to some of the rule changes and also have some of the most controversial things that we've seen in football today, whether it's Deflategate, Bountygate. At the same time, we had the miss PI against the Saints, with the Rams last year. And so then that ended up implementing the pass interference review and all that stuff. So there's been so many big things that have happened in conference championship games, and it's led to some significant changes in the NFL that we're still seeing today.
Yeah, no doubt about that. I mean, we didn't even talk about the Seahawks against 49ers,
Right.
Kaepernick, and that whole game. I mean,
Yeah.
we missed. There's a few really good ones, but I think we got it right for the most part.